What's up, USHL fans and Sioux Falls Stampede fans? I'm Jonny Lazarus, joined by head coach of the Sioux Falls Stampede, Ryan Cruthers, and I guess former Sioux Falls Stampede player now, Ethan Wyttenbach, who recently got drafted in the NHL by the Calgary Flames and is now attending Quinnipiac University this coming fall. So a very exciting summer for both of you guys. Ethan, I know it's been a little bit hectic the past couple of weeks, as it looks like you're in a classroom right now joining us. So you must be at Quinnipiac, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks for sure. It's been crazy kind of last month, I guess. But yeah, I'm at school right now. Moved in last night. Kind of getting acclimated. Started class already, which wasn't expecting so soon, but good. I'm excited and looking forward to it.
And Coach Cruthers, you're still in Sioux Falls right now for the rest of the summer?
Yeah, here the rest of the summer. Just got back. I was actually in New York during the draft week, so I was there when Ethan got picked by Calgary. It was a really cool experience. Just aligned up perfectly with me being in New York at the time, and then back in Sioux Falls preparing for the season.
Did you have any idea he was going to get picked before him, or was it just as surprising for you as it was for Ethan?
We were sitting at the table together, actually, and I think the NHL was on commercial break, and Ethan was sitting next to me on my left, and he's like, I think I just got drafted, because his phone was going off. He was getting a bunch of text messages congratulating him, but sitting at his house with his family and stuff, it didn't come across the TV yet. So it was a pretty cool, something different. It was a cool experience, and really proud of him, and it was great to see his family. You know, a lot of people go into a player getting drafted in their career, and to see his family in that moment was special. It was cool.
Yeah. And Ethan, you and I obviously FaceTimed a little bit right after you got picked, but just walk us through what you remember from that moment.
No, yeah, like he said, I mean, we were sitting there. It was like a commercial. I don't even remember what commercial, like Geico or something.
You remember the commercial?
Yeah, and I was sitting there, and like my phone started blowing up, and I was like I thought like it was someone like messing with me, because like obviously I didn't see anything. And then like one of my best friends texted me, and he's like, "Yo, you just got picked." I was like, "No, it's a commercial." And then came back, and obviously my name was up there, and obviously it was a pretty surreal thing, like being with my family, being with Ryan, and then Vinny Smith, my coach from the Gulls, was there with us as well, and just kind of having everyone together who played such a huge part in me getting picked it was really special. And then obviously we talked afterwards. You FaceTimed me with Glenn, and it was a unreal day, and obviously followed up by a pretty hectic couple weeks, but it's been a really cool experience so far.
And Coach, I kind of want to start with you on this question, and Ethan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of remember speaking with you, Ethan, a year ago, and your expectation going into the USHL, you really just wanted to make the team and be an every night guy. But here we are a year later, you put up 24 goals, 27 assists, 51 points in 44 games. You're drafted in the NHL. And here's my question to you, Coach. Like, did you see this right away from training camp when he stepped into Sioux Falls, or was it something that, progressed throughout the season, with the success he had?
I think it was pretty steady after our camp in June. Like, he was here for camp. We traded for him. He went through a summer. We spoke a bit throughout the summer, and we had high expectations for him. We saw a lot in him. Obviously, there's a lot of talent there. And it was something that we needed to kind of fill a hole with the roster we had last year. So we went out and we identified it. We were able to get him from Chicago. And then when the season started from day one, you could see it. Like, he came in with a ton of confidence. It was apparent he had a great summer training with the people that he trains with there. And then he was just making plays and making play after play after play throughout training camp. And that earned him more opportunity. And every time he got another opportunity, he took advantage of it. And I think he was surrounded by some really good players that helped complement his game too. And he just really took advantage of the situation. We were a new coaching staff, so there was no real returning players that played for us the year before. So we didn't really have any preconceived notions or had kind of a feeling for where guys would fit. It was really open season. And I think Ethan did a great job of coming in and taking advantage of that. And it was just like we were just hitting one thing after another, right? Went to Pittsburgh, thought he played really well, came back. And it just kept building throughout the season where, by Christmas, you could tell he was one of the best players in the league. And then the All-American game, that was another great moment and a memory for us. We got to go experience that together, although he was on the other team and the first and last time he'll beat me at anything.
We had a little bet that
yeah, we had a bet going.
What was it?
It was every Thursday practice before games, we would do like a elimination shootout, just to kind of like in case we got into a shootout, and it was always, we were always competing for the win at the end. But obviously he had like won 3 in a row before the All-American game, and so I said if my All-American team wins, you can't go in the competition for was it 3 weeks?
I think it was 3 weeks. Yeah.
You were beating all of your own players in a shootout contest?
I was hot for a while. I think I had 3 Thursdays in a row. So, yeah. And then we do like an elimination thing where guys get voted out, and it seemed like if you score, you get 2 breakaways. So if you score on both, you're allowed to vote a guy out, and he can't move on.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So it seemed like for a long time, Ethan was getting voted out. He'd score 2 right away, or score 1 and someone scored 2, and it was like, get the skill guy out. So he'd get voted out. Or then there was a streak where I was getting voted out. But at the moment I was hot and the guys were getting frustrated with me winning. So he made the bet that I'd have to sit out for 3 weeks. And unfortunately they won. So a little suspension.
Well done. Well done. And Ethan, just to get back to the question a little bit.
I remember kind of like what you started out with. Like, I talked with you, I think before main camp.
Yeah.
Which was obviously that's not training camp, or it's kind of just get everyone together for a couple days. And I was talking to you, and obviously I'm a pretty confident kid, but coming from 16U, it's kind of a different level for sure. And I think I was just telling you, like, I want to play like third line, maybe get a couple power play touches. Like, I didn't really have much kind of expectations in a sense, but I think as I got more comfortable, like obviously it took a while not a while, but it took a little bit to kind of get confident, get comfortable playing with older kids and playing in a much tougher league. So I think once I kind of hit my stride around game 10, like once I started getting more opportunity, I just kept taking advantage of it. And I think that was the biggest thing. Like, I think there were guys and there's people who they get opportunity, and if you don't take advantage of it, then there's no point of getting in the first place. So I think that I just was able to kind of take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, that's a good point too. And Coach, I'll let Ethan start this one, but I think as a player, whenever you go to a new team, you always have faith in yourself that you'll not only step in and assimilate yourself, but you'll succeed. And obviously, I think a big part of that as you get older is also having a coach who believes in you and shows trust in you. So, Ethan, what can you say about the Sioux Falls Stampede organization, both on the ice and off the ice, that allowed you not only to mature as a player on the ice this year, but off the ice as well? I mean, it should be noted that you won the Gaudreau Award, the inaugural Gaudreau Award, which is such a huge honor, and it just speaks to your character as a young man. And I know that was a big deal for you and your family, and it sounds like you grew up a lot this year in the USHL.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was just the relationships, like obviously how close me and Ryan are, and then obviously the rest of the coaches there were just. It was obviously as a younger kid, you are nervous and there's the growing pains and all those types of things, but I think they made me feel at home right away. Training camp, like it took time, but I think as I got more comfortable in a couple days, a couple weeks, like I think it was just a situation to where like I felt that I was able to kind of be a leader in a sense and just kind of be someone that the guys looked up to. I think as a young kid, you kind of sit in the back and you don't want to make a mistake, but I think I got the opportunity to where I was one of the guys really, really quick. And then obviously the Sioux Falls community is great. And I think we have such an amazing fan base that like, it just made it so easy to want to help out and want to be there in the community and just kind of show them that we appreciate what they do for us. We had a great media team and kind of behind the scenes people that would help out with all the community service stuff and kind of make sure we're doing things away from the rink that made the fans want to come to the game. So I think for us, it was just kind of everything came together to where how close I was with the staff and how close our team got. It made it such a better environment for me.
And Coach, he wasn't a little punk on day one, or was it a mature guy that stepped in?
Well, I think he had a little bit of a cheat sheet, right? I know, we have a lot of mutual friends and coaches that were in his life that were able to kind of tee him up for what to expect. With myself and my staff coming in for the first year here, I think, he speaks a lot about, Vinny Smith, and then there's Craig DeRemus. And these are guys that were influential in Ethan's life before, we got a chance to be a part of it. So I think they were able to give him a little insight onto how we operate and how I run my teams and the culture that we were trying to build. And we had a big mission here to restore pride in the Stampede logo. And Ethan was a big part of that. But I think just the way that the group was able to come together, it allowed younger players like Ethan and some of the other guys that had great success, either for the first time in their junior career or even, late in their junior career, to have their best seasons. This environment that we created inside our room, a lot of credit goes to our leadership group and the players in that locker room. And the coaching staff's just a small part. We kind of set the parameters, and then the culture runs itself. But you would watch these guys on the ice after like a player development session, and we would get off and we'd go back and cut the film after from practice, and you'd see the guys like goofing around after, and like how close they were. The no coaches on the ice, unsolicited, like you could just feel the love they had for one another.
I experienced it myself.
Yeah, you were here, and it's like we kind of have this reputation of being like a kind of a strict team, and we have these parameters. I don't want to say rules. We do have some rules, but the guys love it and they flourish in it. So it allows guys like Ethan to just be themselves, right? So I give a lot of credit to the group and the team and the guys that were in that locker room, because that's not always the case. And coaches could have their rules and the things that they want and their pillars for success. But if the team doesn't buy into it wholeheartedly, then it just doesn't work. It's fake. And I thought we weeded out a lot of the fake. And the guys that were here at the end were the guys that had just as much of an impact on Ethan getting drafted and going to school than we did as coaches. And I think as we reflect as a staff looking into next year, that culture that these guys built, not us, them, that's something that's going to last here. We restored pride, and the individual success really shined through the team success. So that's what I think gave Ethan kind of a competitive advantage. Instead of coming in as a punk, he came in as an educated young man that knew what to expect here.
But what you said too about just having the individual success that comes with the team success, coach, like that's probably the hardest part about junior hockey, right? Is that when your team is good and the individual players thrive, part of your job is seeing them move on and then rebuilding that year after year. So it's kind of rewarding, but also, for lack of a better term, probably sad to see some guys move on. And, Ethan, I want to start with you here, but, there were rumblings that you might jump ship and go to the CHL, but you chose to stay the path and honor your commitment to Quinnipiac and stand by your Sioux Falls teammates in the USHL. And I'm sure that was a hard decision for you to make, but can you just speak about the communication between the two of you, between the team, and ultimately how you decided to go into Quinnipiac this coming fall?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really tough process in a lot of ways. I think, obviously, I've been super loyal to Sioux Falls and the USHL in a sense to where I knew there was no matter who was coming after me from the CHL and all that, I knew it wasn't really a thing of, am I going? It was more of, no, I'm not going. And I think it was just, it kind of, obviously it was a decision between a lot of people, my family and all that, but I think it was just really tough to kind of make the right decision in a sense, like just coming from where how much Ryan and Sioux Falls did for me, like it was just super tough to leave that behind. Obviously, I think I personally think I did what's best for the next steps of my career and all that, and get into the NHL one day, which is obviously everyone's goal and dreams. But I think just leaving my teammates and just everyone who was with me last year, like, I mean, we have 3 guys from Long Island on the team who are all quote unquote my best friends. So I think like leaving them, and then everyone who I've made relationships with the past year, and even at main camp when I was there, like it was just super, super tough to make that decision emotionally. Obviously, hockey wise, it's what I needed to kind of excel my game. But I think emotionally and just kind of the situation I had in Sioux Falls was something I'll never forget, and definitely will never be ungrateful for.
And coach, like with that as well, obviously, I'm sure for you, it sucks to lose a guy like Ethan, but I'm sure you're also proud to see him move on to the next level. That's the whole goal of the USHL, right? To see guys, flourish and then get to college. But what can you say about, Ethan setting that example for guys to come, right? Maybe a name who wasn't necessarily put on the NHL draft boards before the season starts, but he comes in, does the work, and now, a year later off to college as an NHL draft pick. I mean, what can you say about that?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes to the commitment, not just from us as an organization, but the league in terms of how we bring kids in and develop them. And, it's no different than, last year. And yeah, you're right. It sucks to lose your returning leading scorer. And, it's not the points really. Ethan and I are super close. We had a relationship right away. You feel like you're losing a son, right? And you probably have the same nerves that, parents have, like, is he ready to go? Oh, did we prepare for this? Did we prepare him enough? Because I think something that we take pride in is moving our players on and making sure that they're successful when they go, because that's an extension of us. So everyone that he is at Quinnipiac right now with, he's representing us too in this new prideful Stampede that we kind of reinvigorated. So that's an important piece. And for us, the angst is like, we just want to make sure we set him up for the most success. Right, we're super proud. What he accomplished in 1 year, you have to reflect back, because when he talked to you, he just wanted to make the team, or he wanted to just be a third line guy. So that opens up the door for the next Ethan, really. And I could say when we were playing fantasy, junior hockey, which all coaches do in June and July, was Ethan on first line, first power play at this point last summer? No, he wasn't. And he earned that. So now we just find the next one and try and work hard. And we know that Ethan's going to go on and represent what we did here in a positive way. And I think he already has. I think the way that we were able to be a small part of development, there's a lot of people that, should be credited with Ethan's success. Most importantly, him. Like, he's the one that did this. We provided a platform. We provided a plan. But that was 7-8 months. There's some people that were with him for 4 or 5 years coaching them. There's some people that were with him for one high school season. And there's his parents and grandparents that have been there from birth. So everyone has a part in it. I think I give a lot of credit to his teammates that were here. His teammates did an unbelievable job of facilitating an environment where he was comfortable to play his game, comfortable to make mistakes, comfortable to just be himself. And I think they have a large part to do with it. And as he moves on and goes on, we're super proud of him. We're going to celebrate every goal he scores and every accomplishment he has through the NHL. As if
every A plus.
What's that?
Every A plus.
Every A plus. Those might be few and far between. I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll hope to get a couple of those.
I was talking to him the other day. He was in town, and we were talking, and he started classes, and he's in. What are you in, Chinese something
Chinese
or?
culture.
Yeah.
Chinese
so
what?
Chinese culture.
Is that like a mandatory class, or is that something you're interested in?
Well, no, I don't know. I wouldn't say interested. Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I'm doing business. I don't really know how that plays into it, but it was. I guess there weren't many options when I guess joining late. It kind of not many options or classes left. But yeah, it's an online course that I started last week, and
we'll see if he gets an A. We'll see if he gets an A in that one.
Yeah, I got 100% right now after the my video on the self-introduction. So we're starting.
I might need to see that. Are you introducing yourself in Chinese?
No, it's not Chinese. It's just Chinese culture.
Got it. So you're not going to speak fluent Chinese at the end of the year. Okay, I misunderstood. But getting back to it a little bit, Ethan, and I actually do want to start with coach. This might be a little bit awkward for you, Ryan, but it's kind of how it goes. What would you say if you can pick one specific thing about Ethan's game that really, stepped up this year and progressed, like from where it was, when you first knew him a year ago, and, what's going to set him up most at Quinnipiac this fall for success?
It's a loaded question, because when you're at this level, and I think more importantly with Ethan, he had the injury last year, which, there was a lot of growth in his game. And I would say the early growth in his game was slow, but his ability to understand the importance of we call it reloading and getting back. And what he was able to really unlock was the fact that the harder he pursued the puck when it was going towards our end, the more offense it led to. So I think it really rounded out his game a little bit, where we found a way to connect to him on the defensive side of the puck, because, teaching him how that's going to lead to offense. So I thought that really progressed early in the year. His playmaking ability shined through, and, we even found him on the penalty kill, which I think you would have, I don't know if anyone saw that coming, but, we had one of the top penalty kills in the league, and Ethan's ability to think the game and make reads before plays happen is what leads to his success offensively. And we kind of moved that to the defensive side because we're a man down. So I think his brain was able to make up for having a man, being at a disadvantage, being a man down. So he matured on the defensive side. But I think, looking into this year when he was, originally slated to come back here, I think he matured a lot as a young man. And I think he matured a lot from a leadership perspective. I think he found a lot more about what team means. And again, I relate that back to some of the captains we had here, not even the captains, just that whole group. They showed the importance of being a good teammate and being a good human. And I know he's had that throughout his career. But when we talk about development, I think he took that a step further. I think he got that with the Gulls. He got that with the people he works with. But it just got enhanced even more when he came here and he bought into that. And we fully expected him to be part of the leadership group this year coming back. So I think that was a big step for a first-year player in the league. And but like anything, there's points of maturation and then there's setbacks. And I think the injury was everything happens for a reason. And what he was willing to do and go through a rigorous physical therapy process instead of just getting surgery and the year ending. He found the importance of team, and he had some things that he wanted to accomplish. And he worked so hard to get back with us, and when he came back, I would say that was one of the lower moments. Excited to have him back, but he came back wanting to save the world. And we didn't need to be saved. We just needed to be the Stampede with Ethan because that was great, So we went through a couple of games where, it was like, all right, can we get back to where we were? We knew we had the injury, and then we just unlocked. We had a moment, him and I, and we unlocked getting back. We got back to where we were, and then it was beautiful. And I think him just being willing to come back and go through that, knowing he's going to have surgery at the end of the year, knowing that he's delaying this, I think it speaks to his character and who he is, and really what he is to his teammates. And I think he turned a real corner there, and super proud of him for that.
And Ethan, would you agree with those sentiments? What about you or what about your game really changed the most that you can pinpoint this year in the USHL?
Yeah, I mean, I think all those things were something that we focused on every week, every day to to add to my game. I think one thing that kind of people never or always doubted about me was pace of play and can his feet work at the next level and all those types of things. And I think for me that I always believed that I'd get to the point eventually. And I think offense has always been my strong suit. But I think showing everyone that I can kind of drive the play a little bit and kind of add that part of my game to where I can play in the USHL, play college hockey, hopefully play in the NHL one day. I think those things are really important. And I think along with everything Ryan said, I think it completely changed my game from being a kid who supposedly didn't back check and play defense. Changing that kind of expectation of me, I guess that makes sense.
We went from didn't back check to rarely back check to he back checked. So it was good. It's development.
That's the definition of the word, right? That's the definition. So Ethan, what excites you most about this coming fall? I mean, you're there right now, but what are you looking forward to most about Quinnipiac? I mean, I can speak firsthand. That was the first road arena I ever played in college, and it's a perfect model for what a college hockey rink and atmosphere should be like. So I'm really proud of you and pumped for you. But what are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, I think there's two things for me. I think the first thing is just the challenge that comes with it. I think I've been someone who strives when it's not easy. Heading into Sioux Falls, it wasn't like I was given a golden ticket and you're the best, your first line, first power. It wasn't like that. And I think for me, that's something that has been good for me. I think coming into a situation to where nothing's really handed to me, and I think I kind of have to earn it and work for it. I think I'm super excited for that challenge. Obviously, along with playing against grown men and kind of getting that sort of challenge. But I also think just kind of being in this environment to where winning a national championship, everyone looks at that as kind of the top of college hockey. And I think for me, coming in as a young kid where I'm coming into a great program, one of the most winning programs in that past decade. I think for me, it's just I'm excited to kind of hopefully win a national championship one day and kind of get along with that process.
And I got 2 more questions for you guys. I'm going to start with Ethan on this one. But now that you're out of it, what part of playing in the USHL do you think most people outside of the league or that don't fully understand the league, what part about the league do you think people might not know enough about?
I think it's just like the first taste of like pro hockey, if that makes sense, in a sense. I think just like, I mean, obviously I think we had the best stadium in the league, but I think my first junior game, we had 10,000 people like at home. And I think just that kind of environment is something you don't go through as a kid. So I think for me, just kind of being able to understand that, like playing in front of that many people, like you look on TV and it's like, how do they play in front of that many people? But I think it's something that you kind of grow up and kind of learn that it's not what you expected. And I think obviously now heading on to college and hopefully pro one day, it's kind of an environment that I'm used to now.
And Coach, what would you say about that same exact question?
I agree with that. I think it's that first real taste of like, okay, now we're progressing in our career to a point where every day is challenging. And I think that's, speaking in Sioux Falls, one thing we take pride in is we try and make sure that, one, they're ready to play on the weekend, but 2, that the body of work between, let's just say Monday and Thursday with a traditional Friday, Saturday game night is that it's hard, it's challenging. And we spend a lot of time. I think Ethan can speak to it, but we're very invested in our players, and I know that there's a lot of teams around the league that are, but, we take a lot of pride in this type of interaction and making sure the players are in a good mind space so that we could develop them. Because if they're not in a great mind space away from the rink and everything going on in their life, it's very hard to connect to them when we're trying to work on their game or work on team structure. And, we have a pretty rigorous schedule here in Sioux Falls. We're very detailed and dialed in on our day-to-day approach, whether it's practice. Then we have a great 3-sheet practice facility where we'll practice and then forwards go on one rink with 2 coaches, D go on another rink with 2 or 3 coaches, and then we get after it. And we have a great video coach and individual video, line video, position-specific video. It's like a factory every day here. And that's the part that's different than pro hockey, right? Like you get the pro hockey and you're expected to just process the video on the pre-scout, day off. You got to be able to make change. Your brain has to be there. Here we have a little bit more, with our schedule, we have a little bit more of a runway to prepare guys for success on the weekends. But more importantly, when, you find out Ethan's going to college in July, right, that we did everything daily that he's prepared. Like I'd be hard pressed. Like we know how to prepare players for college hockey. That's what we've been really tasked to do, is get them ready for the NCAA and then to get them ready for not just any NCAA team, the top teams. So I think our day-to-day approach, and whether it's the video, the nutrition, whether it's the gym, all of this learning environment here in the USHL and in particular Sioux Falls, I hope that gives Ethan and all of our players that leave a really good sense of what to expect. So when they get there, they're not out of place. Like I played in the EJHL back in the day in Long Island, right? When I got to college, we never had like team meetings and video.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what was going on. So we try and prepare them at the highest level so that they're ready. They could get dropped in the Quinnipiac in July, or they can get dropped into the NHL and whenever, and they feel comfortable because we prepared them for it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, even going back to my days, I didn't have team meetings really even in junior hockey. Like kind of started for me in college, and I was playing in the North American League. So for me, it's a little bit different, but it's just crazy. The preparation. Huh?
Still got cut from Sioux Falls.
Cut from Sioux Falls 2 years
ago. 3 times now.
This year.
3 times now.
But, first of all, thank you guys so much. And I just have one final question. This one is just for Ethan. If you had one message now, Ethan, for a younger player who's considering playing the USHL today, what would that message be?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing was just how confident I was in my ability. And then obviously when a challenge is presented to you, I think you have to take advantage of it. I think you're bound to get an opportunity at some point. And I think if you take advantage of it in the right way, you'll continue to get them.
Listen, it's great to see the progress for both you guys. Obviously as a Long Island guy myself, it's so fun to root for the two of you guys. So very proud of what you've both accomplished, and hopefully I get the invite out to Wiener Dog Night, or not Wiener Dog. Yeah, it's Wiener Dog Night. That's what they call
Wiener
it, right?
Dog Night.
Wiener
You're
Dog
always
Night.
invited.
Yeah, I better be there. Ethan, so excited to watch you in college this year, and rooting for nothing but success for the both of you guys. So thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your summer.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Johnny. Appreciate it.